Okay. So good afternoon to everyone.
Make it elaborate on the, yeah,
Yeah.
enlarge one.
So yeah. So is it visible to everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Please go
Yeah.
on.
So good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I thank you to Dr. Mailwan sir for giving this wonderful opportunity to present a paper among with the youngest scholars of this Tamil Nadu and South India. And it's my topic is India-China relations, development and its impact on Indo-Pacific region. And let me start the topic. So why India-China? So India and China is the most important countries in the Asian subcontinent, and it has its own warm relations since the 1940s and 50s. And India was the first non-socialistic countries to have a diplomatic ties with China. Until 1958, we have a good cordial relations. You all know about the Panchashila Agreement, which was signed in 1954, which was a 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, which was put forward in Bantam Conference in 1954, and it highlights the relationship between India and Pakistan, India and China. Then the bilateral relations between China and India becomes a little low because of the one important issue called Tibetan leader Dalai Lama, who was given asylum in India as a response which caused more tension between the Tibetanese and Chinese authorities in the year 1959. And along with Tibetan tension, the Sino-Indian disagreement on the demarcation of boundary line as a result of failed talks and border settlement turned the relation towards distrust and intense hostility. Then come against the 1960, there was a biggest conflict called India-China border conflict 1962, which flared up an era of antagonism and diplomatic deadlock started. So during the course of early 1970s and come to the 1970s, the relations between India and China was more or less it has a good thing because it paved the way towards the rapprochement between the two countries. The major breakthrough which comes in the year 1988, and after 34 years of Nehru's visit to China, the prime minister visited China is none other than Rajiv Gandhi. Because of him, many agreements were signed in the fields of science and technology and airlinks, cultural exchanges, and both the sides were agreed to establish a joint working group as well as a joint economic group to boost the trade, science, technology, as also and many other things. And later on, starting from 1940 to 1988, there was a cordial relationship. First, it was started with the mutual relationship between India and China, India's acceptance as China as a full country in the year 1949. And there, after that, we had a Panchashila Agreement, and after the 1962 border India-China conflict, and after that several years, nearly 1988 was the biggest landmark because of the Rajiv Gandhi's visit, and they made an agreement on many areas. And until 1998, there was a little impact between the relationship between China and Pakistan. Why I'm saying 1998 is the one famous important incident is 1998 is Pokhran 2. Pokhran 1 was tested in 1974, and in 1998, one important thing is Pokhran 2. It's India's second nuclear test conducted during Vajpayee's period, and it disturbed the nuclear balance in South Asia. And that time also, India cited one reason why we conducted nuclear tests because of a rising threat of China. But later we twisted our word in the year 1919 because of the Kargil war. At that time, the defense minister George Fernandez, he said that China is not at all a threat to India. So they had a slight tilt towards the opinion on China. And later on, there was a high-level talks which were held to boost the relationship between India and China. And finally, in the year 2003, China invited India to visit their country. So upon the invitation, our Prime Minister Vajpayee, at that time the Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee visited India. Because of that visit only, Sikkim was accepted as an important part of our Indian country. And at the same time, India accepted Tibet as a part of China. So this is the major fruitful result of the 2003 Vajpayee visit to China. Okay, so this was the relationship between India and China till 2003. And in 2011, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh visited China alongside the BRICS summit, which reinforced the idea that both states are interested to enhance cooperative relationship. And in 2013, the relationship was cordial because of the visit of a Chinese premier to India. They decided to expand multilateral cooperation through regional organizations like East Asia Summit, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SARC, and also they shared a common interest in WTO, World Trade Organization, food security, and global governance, because it's very, very important issue at that time. So it was in the year 2013. And in 2014, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, In 2014, there was a major concept called inch towards miles. So inch means India, China, and miles is millennium of exceptional synergy. This was a term coined in the year 2014, and it was a as per our Prime Minister Modi suggested that I believe that tomorrow's meeting will mark a happy beginning towards this goal of inch towards miles. So Modi's inch and miles mantra, it was a concept which was during the time of 2014. And again 2015, there was another concept called selfie diplomacy. In the year 2015 May, Prime Minister Modi signed a 22 billion US dollar worth of deals with China in the field of research, infrastructure, education, and other fields. So he introduced a concept called selfie diplomacy or digital diplomacy, which was a very viral in social media at that time, because 2015 is the beginning of social media, very Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter. So many selfie photographs of Chinese premier and our prime minister was flooded in the social media network. So it is called a selfie diplomacy. So with this, a detailed look over the relations between the India and China, and it has been explored that both the states desired to establish a friendly relationship at the regional level and at the Indo-Pacific level. Both are seeking strictly to acquire national interest in South Asia without compromising. An impact on Indo-Pacific. So you all know Indo-Pacific is a concept which was introduced in 2011 by Karl Hofhofer, and it was a concept propounded by United States of America. So from the point of view of India, India wanted indulge into the Indo-Pacific concept because they want to expand their main policy called the Look East policy, and now it is Look East Asia policy. Now it is called as Act East Asia policy. India wanted to have a good relationship with Australia and Japan, and also they have a good diasporic relationship with Mauritius, Fiji, South Korea, because they want to check the influence of China in the subcontinent. That's why they decided to support the Indo-Pacific concept, because in the Asian subcontinent now the sleeping giant and the China's influence is growing globally. So to check on this influence only, the Indo-Pacific concept has been propounded by USA, and it is well taken by India. So India wanted to play an increasing role in the region. And from the point of view of China, I like to say, what is the Chinese perspective? According to China, Indo-Pacific is just a geographical concept turned to geostrategic concept, and it was developed by USA because according to them, this concept was developed by USA to check their influence in the influence of China in the region. And also they want to create a confusion between the India-China relations. That is the major perspective of China towards the Indo-Pacific concept. So in keeping the pragmatic nature of foreign policy of India, the Indo-Pacific construct allows India to further enhance the Look East and Act East Asia policy. And also we had a good relationship with Australia as well as Japan, which was a part of an important regional grouping called Quad. Sorry, important grouping called Quad. Why we became a member of Quad means because we want to have a good relationship among the Australia as well as Japan, and also we have strengthened our ties with Vietnam and other Asian countries, and also whatever the countries that were located in the Indian Oceans and Pacific Oceans. Recently, we have engaged with like the diasporic regions, which was very helpful to increase our role in the Indo-Pacific region. And also, China has been drawn towards Indo-Pacific to satisfy its economic and energy requirements, like India. The US presence in the region has also contributed to China's increasing interest in the Indo-Pacific. Okay, and the similarities between the India and China are not only in their size and population, but also in their national interests. Both of them have a large economic drive, China to maintain its global position and India to increase its import surplus. Maritime security is also an essential to both. These are the main reasons which led both the countries to investing time, energy, and capital in the Indo-Pacific region. As Nehru rightly pointed out that the rubbings of India and China will run across the spine of Asian continents. And we should work towards a good cordial relationship. Instead of armed coexistence, we should strive towards a peaceful coexistence. That is the main thing we should focus on in future of the India-China relations. And that's all. Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. Thank you, Dr. Mailwan, sir.
Thank you. Let me just thank you, Mr. Shanmugam.